Kept you waiting, huh? Yeah, once again, it's been longer than I expected, and the reason again is the same. More stuff has happened in terms of my civil case. It's all coming to a head. Hopefully, things will be settled soon. I should have some updates at least by the end of the month, so I will let you know when I know. So what I wanted to talk about today is more on narcissism and try to give my opinion and differentiate how someone who has narcissistic traits, narcissistic tendencies, or indeed are diagnosed with NPD, narcissistic personality disorder, are vastly different from people who suffer from other mental health issues that are non-cluster B disorders. And I want to make a few key points about that. So one of the biggest things that I've been reading in articles in the past couple months is people trying to cover for the narcissist and pity them and saying that, they can't control their actions, and that's really not the case in my opinion. So in contrast, if you take somebody, who's schizophrenic, they have chemical imbalances in their mind that causes them to be paranoid or delusional in a way they can't control. It's how their brain is wired. They're not making calculated decisions. There's no planning involved. They're not gathering information. They're not trying to build a network of flying monkeys. They're not using misinformation, going behind people's back, and using tactics like gaslighting. It's all like in the moment what they think and how they react to a situation based on the chemical imbalances in their mind. That's not the narcissist. The narcissist, when they go after a victim, there's planning. It's premeditated. They choose who they want to go after. It's not based on a random encounter. They choose the people that they make victims, usually because they see something in you that they want to destroy, or they see you as a threat to their supposed, sense of dominance. Narcissists are very concerned about how people perceive them, want everybody to like them, are massive hypocrites. I'll give a good example of what I would call a textbook narcissist that some people, particularly in America, may be familiar with. It's a fairly well-known fictional character who's existed for years. Sonny Corinthos on General Hospital. Typical, hypocrite, double standards galore, raging narcissist, rules don't apply to him. Like, to me, that is like the quintessential, specifically baby boomer narcissist, and how they act and how they treat other people and how they act like the rules don't apply to them. So other ways narcissists will, choose their victim is they'll see somebody, and this, more so happens with female victims or male victims that are younger and, not reached like full maturity, i.e. not at an age where a narcissist could potentially view them as a physical threat. You know, that a narcissist in certain situations won't victimize. Well, they'll still do it in a work situation, but in a more personal situation, they won't tend will tend not to go after someone, male or female, but in more cases it is male, that could potentially pose a danger to them, in that person after the abuse would potentially become enter into a physical altercation. Narcissists like to go after what they perceive as easy targets. Again, a lot of female victims are chosen because of the narcissist sees that they struggle to say no, or that they're people pleasers. Pay attention, ENFJs. I mean you, in that. And also introverts are also chosen because of their lack of social network and their tendency to already isolate themselves. So they would be more or less likely to speak up, or less likely to speak to someone who would be more inclined to speak up for them. This happens in families too. The whole golden child, black sheep dichotomy. Black sheeps are often highly intelligent and people with great integrity. that other members in the family want to keep down and made feel worthless and made they feel that they can't speak out and speak the truth, because the narcissist has something to hide, and their sense of ego and bravado and false sense of they're so great has to be protected at all costs. So anybody that could potentially outshine them or expose them for what they really are must be discredited in order to protect that facade. And you see this in the work environment too. Just going to give a hypothetical, like, for instance, a certain county government may try to have no empathy for abuse victims and sweep abuse under the rug and prop up the abusers, and possibly an attempt to preserve their PR image of being a very progressive county government when the truth says otherwise. It's just hypothetical. I'm not, saying any specific government or anything like that or anything, but it's just a hypothetical. I'm sure it exists in some places. Again, narcissists, not just with image, money, power, very important to them. They'll get it at all costs. They'll have no empathy at screwing people over, stealing, lying, embezzling, things of that nature, and they will, all this is calculated, well thought out plans that they put into motion. Like I said, it's not with other mental health issues where the person with a non-cluster B mental health issue something can trigger in their mind and set them off and perceive something the wrong way or potentially become paranoid or delusional. A narcissist, everything's pre-planned, and they often have contingency plans for various outcomes. However, they do tend to rely on their intimidation factor and their way of instilling into their victims that they can't say no, that they have to take this abuse due to the environment that they're in, and speaking up will only cause them more harm and cost them in their life in some way, be it their dream career, for example, or potentially in a narcissistic relationship. A narcissist would tell their victim that they would become isolated from all their friends because their friends would side with the narcissist, because in a lot of ways, narcissists in a lot of times are very good at putting on that false show out in public, and very, very good at playing a different role than the person that they really are. But the reality is that person they are in public often is nothing more than a character, and they have a natural ability to do this. This could possibly be why so many narcissists, for a variety of reasons, but it could be one reason why so many narcissists are drawn to the film industry, because they have that natural ability to, pretend to be somebody they're not, whereas a lot of people can't do that at all. I can't do that at all. I that whole, like, in college, guys trying to all that pickup artist shit. Aside from being demisexual, I also have no ability to pretend to be somebody I'm not. And that's cost me a lot, because people sometimes look at me and assume I'm a certain way, and 10 minutes later they regret the horrible things that they've admitted they do to people, and then I expose them. So there's that. Now, I guess the way I look is a sort of camouflage in certain situations, or it has been in the past anyway. But a narcissist won't be able to not search for victims, in the sense that they crave that supply. They generally have a lack of empathy, but not in the sense that they have no empathy like a sociopath, although there is some overlap. They only have empathy for themselves. Everything revolves around the narcissist. So if you complain to a narcissist about how they're acting or the abuse that they're doing and tell them you're not going to take it anymore, they'll play the victim and act like they're the ones that are suffering because everything's about them. No matter what other people are suffering, the narcissist will then complain about how that affects them, because, again, the narcissist is so important. So anything that affects them is wrong, because they're, they got the weight of the world on their shoulders as they see it. So that's just some basic things to know about narcissists as opposed to other people who suffer from non-cluster B mental health disorders. Remember that they know what they're doing. It's a game to them. They have no empathy for what they're doing to you, but they know exactly what they're doing. There's meaning behind it. They have a plan. They have an end game. They're often very charismatic. They're very calculating. They're very cunning, and they're fully aware of what they're doing. And many times they know it's wrong. They don't care because all they care about is themselves, their image, and whatever their end game may be, and getting their supply, of course. So be aware of that when dealing with a narcissist. Do not let them fool you into thinking that they can't help acting that way. It is a choice for them, you know, to abuse others. It may or may not be a choice if they have that inkling to act like that, but it certainly is their choice to act on their own darker impulses. In the same way, someone like me, uh, I could I could see, like, I could be in a pub or something and some guy could be treating his girlfriend like shit, saying horrible things. It's my choice of my actions whether I haul off and hit the guy or not. And even though my impulses may tell me to, I have to hold back and not do that. If he's just running his mouth, if he's being physically abusive, then yes, of course, I'm going to hit him. And I would, at least in most countries, I would think, certainly here, I would be in the right in terms of self-defense laws and all that. But that's just an example to give you, some idea of what the points I'm trying to get across here. Thank everybody for tuning in. Please like, subscribe, help this channel grow and reach more people like us that are sadly probably dealing with similar issues. And remember, always trust your intuition, never sell out your integrity, and speak out against narcissists and all kinds of abuse. It's empowering to do so, and it helps others and potentially prevents further abuse victims, at least by that specific person anyway. And I'll see you next time, probably with a court case update.